Hey guys, I am here to talk about Pratchett. Let's see if I can get this one all in one go in under 5 minutes. Probably not. So I have been asked on many different occasions, where do I start with Pratchett and would I like it? Would it be for me? Anywhere. You can start anywhere. And I know that's a stupidly vague answer, but the way I read them as a kid, back in my early teens, was whatever the library had at the moment. So, you know, I didn't have any money to be buying my own stuff, and so the library is where I got most of my books as a kid. My parents bought me books, but, like, the amount I read was just stupid. So, the library it was, and I just picked up whatever they had, and I read it in completely random order, and I enjoyed myself very much. You can read like that, because they are all standalones. There are two exceptions. I think it's Lord and Ladies. You have to read Witches Abroad first, and then the very last book in the series, Shepherd's Crown, I personally would not recommend starting with the end. You could, but I wouldn't recommend it. So that's basically the only two caveats to you can start anywhere. So if you want a more direct, a more organized way to approach this, you can start just by dipping your toes in with a true standalone. And what I mean by that is this series can be broken into sub-series. So there are groups of characters that kind of clump together and you read their stories as a progression. So there are the witches, there is the watch, there is death, and so the wizards, and so each one of those sub-series has its own flavor and its own messaging and its own tone, and one of those may appeal to you more than the other. Or, you know, as is the case with me, I started with one favorite. Like, I used to really love the wizards, and then I kind of steered away from that. They are sillier, they're more punny, they're more ridiculous. It's a little more Hitchhiker's Guide-esque, with just the ridiculous randomness that can occur with the wizards. And then as, you know, I went through my angsty teen phase and, like, what is the meaning of life, I started to identify more with the death series. And then as I got older and I went into hospice care, I really deeply appreciated the witches. So, you know, even as a single person, your favorite sub-series and what you get from this series can change over time and with rereads. So that's very unique. I really love that about this series. So rounding back to what a true standalone is, so you have Small Gods, which those subset of characters are referenced, but you never follow another novel with them. I think The Truth is another one of those. So there are a few true standalones, and there are flowchart diagrams. If you just Google Discworld reading chart, it's going to be the same thing that just pops up over and over. There are different versions, but it's basically all the same thing. And it'll show you which sub-series, how to follow them in order. I'm not going to post that here in this video, but I can probably link it down below if you're looking for it. So you can choose a true standalone. If you are looking for a sub-series that deals with the meaning of life, the meaning of humanity, go for death. If you want like friendships and storytelling and what right and wrong is and a sense of justice, go with the witches. If you want camaraderie, if you want growth, I think Sam Vimes is probably the most changed character from the beginning when you meet him until the end. He probably has the most dynamic arc. He starts off as a drunkard, like a loser, and he ends up running the guard, and very efficiently and effectively he's an amazing leader. He also grows as a person, not just with the alcohol and the leadership, but he lets go of like a lot of racism that he has. So the Watch is probably the most satirical of our life. So it deals with racism, it deals with sexism, it even goes into pronoun issues. There's a dwarf named Cheery Cheery Littlebottom, and she is a female dwarf, and dwarves don't even have pronouns for women, so like it goes into that. So it's very, it is definitely the most sharply directed at our society and not so much as an individual like struggling with the meaning of life. So these are all ridiculous. Like, are you going to like this or not? They are all ridiculous. None of them take themselves too seriously. They are all satire and they are all comedy. And they all have puns and ridiculous things that happen. It's very British humor. So if you're not, if you hate Monty Python, if you hate Hitchhiker's Guide, if you just do not resonate at all with that kind of humor, you could try this. Don't expect a whole lot, because this is very much so that. It's a little more serious than that. It has more messaging, you know, than Hitchhiker's Guide, but it's very silly, it's very punny, it can be absurdist humor. So you may not resonate with it if you don't like that kind of thing. Outside of that, I think you're gonna love it. Like, if you do like Monty Python, I think you're gonna fall in love with this series. So that's, I got it in 6 minutes. So I'm gonna start reviewing, from the beginning. I'm gonna go publication order for you guys, and I'm gonna go beginning to end, and it's probably gonna take me all year because not all the new audiobooks are out. I don't resonate and I don't recommend very often the old version of the audiobooks. They were not very high quality, they're tinny, they're hard to listen to. I love audiobooks. I read 99.9% of my stuff is audio, and I still don't often listen to the old stuff. So the new ones are being released. They have an amazing talent that they've brought to this. I am so pleased with how they've been turning out. Like I said, or no, I didn't. It was in a previous version I tried. Andy Serkis does Small Guts, and I was hoping he was going to do the whole series. He's not, but he does an amazing performance, and I am just so pleased with everything so far that's come out. Not all of them have been released, but I have a lot of faith given what's been put out. So anyway, thank you for sticking with me if you have until 7 minutes. And I'm going to start reviewing The Color of Magic.